Welcome back to Cobra Kai Season 2 review. We're doing episode 5 today. I'm the Grappler 6. Joining me is the Grappler 8. And let's just get into this thing. All right, Ocho. So we open up episode 5 and we see some background into Hawk's past, and we see his mom calling the school to complain that he's being called a dork and shit lip, and he's just being picked on generally, and it's a little sad to see, and Hawk's real upset. Then now his mom's calling the school, and he calls himself a freak who's never going to have any friends besides Dimitri.
His only friend. Yeah, I mean, that was talk about the range on Hawk's acting chops there. Just, little fourth wall stuff because here's the tough guy now, but shows what he went through, and good old Dimitri sticking by his side. And how about the fact that mom called him shitlip to the school? I mean, is that a mom going to bat for you or what?
Now we see Hawk, and then, he basically, after he tells his mom he'll never have any friends, he runs in his bedroom, kind of falls on the bed, and it kind of, fast forwards a little bit. Now we see Hawk on the tattoo table, and he's actually getting his back fixed up a little bit, and he ended up getting an actual moon tattoo on his chest with moon on it for his girlfriend.
Yeah, the girlfriend that he thought he'd never have, the popularity that he thought he'd never have. Look, this is what a climb from I guess nerdhood and desperation to now ruling the school. I guess having the kids, what do they call them, asshole twins carrying his bags and all that noise. Hawk's got himself an entourage now. He's doing the do.
We find ourselves back at Miyagi-Do. And we see Dimitri just kind of staring at the fence. And he's been asked to paint it. But Dimitri, in typical form, continues to complain about everything.
Yeah, and, defiance. Dimitri is defiance, for sure.
Complete defiance. And at one point, he's painting the fence. And if you can believe this, he actually asked Daniel if he can use a roller instead of the paintbrush.
That's work harder, not smarter. But and again, is LaRusso ignoring child labor laws here? I get it, it's training, but we're in a different era now. This isn't the 80s. This isn't making kids do all the work and teaching them a lesson. This is the 2019s here. So big question marks right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna I believe Dimitri is 18 years old. So I'm going to have to kind of call you on the whole, child labor laws there. But,
let's move on.
Well. So it's not that important. Child labor laws, not a big deal. So we find ourselves
according to Miyagi, I guess not. Mm-hmm.
So we're back at Cobra Kai, and Johnny and Kreese are demonstrating some moves. And, we see Kreese, and then after that, we see Kreese and Johnny just, he's given Johnny a hard time about that his son trains with Daniel.
Yeah, and this is the lesson. They're teaching lessons. Kreese, Johnny, they give a good demonstration about going all in, and that Johnny's son is, working with the enemy. Follow your own lead, man. Follow your own lesson. Don't be a hypocrite. Not do as I say, not as I do. Do as you do also. Kreese trying to, teach Johnny a thing or two. Does this mean Kreese is a good guy?
Is Kreese not a good guy? I can see a little good and a little bad in him. I mean, he's not completely polished. He's a little rough around the edges.
We're on the fence still. We're not painting the fence. We're on the fence. I got you.
I think we're definitely on the fence. So next we see the gang, all the Cobra Kai guys, all the kids, they're over at the Max, went over to the Max after school, and they're grabbing some burgers, and then we see Tori trying to flirt. She actually throws a meatball at Miguel and trying to flirt with Miguel.
She's macking on Diaz big time. She's not even hiding it here, buddy.
Next we see Hawk. A couple of the newbie students show Hawk his phone, and he starts reading a negative Yelp review about Cobra Kai, and Hawk is pissed. And
flames out his eye. Yeah.
He scrolls up and realizes who it's from. It's from Dimitri, and Hawk starts to get that kind of look on his face, and you can definitely tell he is not pleased. Not pleased.
Hawk is full of rage. Maybe it's misplaced rage from getting picked on for how many years, but boy, he's filled with rage here.
So now we're back at Miyagi-Do, and Sam and Robbie are on the are dancing on the water balancing gimmick, and we see Dimitri come in, and he presents Daniel with a note from his mom, basically excluding himself from any extensive leg and arm movements, which I would assume would be painting the fence or
sanding the floor. Yep.
Trying to balance on the water gimmick. Dimitri is he's definitely an interesting character so far.
The dance thing where Robbie and Sam were. You ready? And I bet you saw it. So Robbie is Sam and Robbie weren't having the best of balance on the water wheel. Robbie even mentioned it, and it's got to be, Robbie can't, counterbalance this obvious weight gain that Sam has now had. That's definitely teetering the waterboard off. He's used to a nice petite person, and I don't know what happened, but little paunchy in certain areas. Now Robbie can't keep the water wheel flat, and that's tough. You can't have balance that way. Who's to blame?
Wait a minute, Ocho. What? He couldn't balance because of Sam's weight gain? Is that what you just said? So she's been doing nothing but training Miyagi-Do karate pretty much 24 hours straight for the last, 2 to 3 months, and she's put on pounds? Is that your claim right now?
Oh, what's the other reason why Robbie couldn't balance? It was obviously not. It was Robbie that couldn't balance because of the excess weight gain. Robbie was fine until she kind of teetered. Look, these are facts.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a bit of an agenda, Ocho. And, I think you need to get yourself in check and stay in your lane, pal, because this is supposed to be unbiased, okay? We're supposed to be objectively reviewing this show, and you're taking jabs at Sam's.
I'm on Robbie's side. I'm on
Nobody
Robbie's
else
side.
has even seen. Okay, let's move on. So we see Daniel
Maybe
asking Dimitri to come on. We see Daniel now asking Dimitri to come sand the floor. Daniel wants to show Dimitri what he's been learning. Daniel then goes to kick him so Dimitri can block it while sanding the floor. Dimitri does not block it. Daniel kicks him. Dimitri's hurt. He admits he doesn't even want to be there, but he's also tired of being bullied.
Right. That's a tough predicament, too. I mean, he literally says, ow, you kicked me. And, LaRusso was like, well, I told you I was gonna. You're supposed to block it. So, and then it gets to the deeper issues. LaRusso, always the hand on the shoulder, I understand. Have you noticed that tactic? It's always the I understand. The very calming LaRusso. Been in a lot of predicaments, obviously. I mean, might be the car salesman in him, but he seems to understand a lot.
Well, now we see Johnny, and he goes to Robbie's apartment, and when he walks up, he sees an eviction notice on the door, and gets a little nervous. He tries to ask the neighbor, if they've seen anything or know what's going on, and the neighbor just ignored him.
Left in the dark. Poor Johnny.
So moving on, now we see Sam and Robbie are at the mall eating, and we realize some pretty vital information and to some background into these characters that both Sam and Robbie really love Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. And you notice Sam was eating again, right? I don't know if you noticed that in that clip, but
so then we see Dimitri comes and sits with them, and then eventually heads off to the comic book store. He's waiting for some new
stoked
Superman
new
comic or something. Yeah. So moving on, Ocho. So we see now Tori offering Miguel, which is real big of her. So we're back at the max now with the gang.
Yeah.
We see Tori offering Miguel a bunch of melted leftover ice cream off of her plate. So very generous of her, very generous. And so she comes over. Miguel's still hard at work. And, she asks Miguel, what are you working on? What are you working on that computer? And so Miguel shows Tori his broken heart gimmick that he's making for Sam, and something to kind of try to beg to get her back. And Tori, who likes Miguel, is visibly upset at this.
Mm-hmm. Very conflicted. And again, and Miguel even said, "Look, I need a chick's point of view for this anyway." And now Tori, she gave great advice. because, and Miguel said, I'm desperate, man. Like I'm totally desperate. I want her to know how I feel. Tori was legit saying, look, you can't go in desperate. That's all they want. Now, meanwhile, Tori is obviously macking on Diaz again, so is she just giving the advice because she wants Diaz, or is she giving true advice? Because think about it. That is how you get the chicks to want you back. You ignore the hell out of them. Ocho knows this.
That's a good point, Ocho. That's a good point. But also coming on the Cobra Kai side, I guess you can't really necessarily trust where she's coming from.
On the Johnny Cobra Kai side, but maybe on the Kreese Cobra Kai side. I don't know. Now we're splitting hairs. So you're good point. Good point on your end, young man.
Thank you. So now we see Johnny, and he goes to visit Daniel at the LaRussa Auto. And Johnny comes in. He's frustrated. He's been to 3 or 4 of these dealerships, and he can't find Robbie. He's coming to find Robbie. And Johnny ends up assaulting one of the salesmen and punching him. Gets him in a hammerlock, throws him on the car, gives him a nice gut punch, and the salesman ends up telling Johnny that Robbie's living with Daniel, which is
mind-blowing, mind-effing right there.
Yeah, Johnny takes it very, very hard.
Yeah, one donkey punch and you get all the info you need. So I guess that's still works in some realms, I guess. But that's a tough pill to swallow for that guy.
Absolutely. So now we find ourselves back at this mall, Ocho, and things are starting to get heated right now. So, poor Dimitri, he's just at the comic book store minding his own business, and Hawk comes in and finds him. And Hawk's got a couple guys for backup, and he tells Dimitri, you better take that Yelp review down. And Dimitri doesn't want to. He doesn't want to hurt his journalistic integrity. And Hawk gets upset. Hawk pushes him. And Dimitri gets up and he lets Hawk know. He's like, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of Bebop. I'm not afraid of Rocksteady. And he's been training some Miyagi-Do karate too. So Dimitri's ready to scrap.
Ready to rumble. He gets his stance a little confused at first, but he's no coward.
Well, it's only been a couple days though too, Ocho.
Yeah,
so
right.
Give
baby
him a
steps.
Baby steps. A little bit of credit. So basically, they start to get into it. Dimitri gives him a couple kicks. And the comic book store guy breaks it up. And Dimitri, doing kind of what he does best, he starts running. He starts running for his life. And he ends up out in the food court, only to realize Robbie and Sam have left. So he doesn't have any backup in the food court. And by now, Hawk's there, Bebop, Rocksteady are there, and a couple other Cobra Kai jobbers are in the back. So Dimitri finds himself surrounded.
But they played a classic 80s run, though. It was a classic 80s mall run. And if you noticed, this is Ocho. That was the same song that they played in Karate Kid when LaRusso was running from Cobra Kai, when he got caught on the fence after he doused Johnny like a heel does. Johnny just twisting up a J, and LaRusso doused him with the water, and then he takes off, causing a car crash. Same music, same premise, same 80s touch. Ocho likes it.
Ocho, I got to admit, man, you might be, irritating me just a little bit with some of your points of view, but I got to say, those are the type of details. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So very professional. So they're getting ready to jump Dimitri. And just as he's about to get jumped by 5 different guys, Sam and Robbie come to his aid. And now it turns into a 5-on-3 brawl, and it just breaks out right in the food court.
A very technical brawl, too, by the way, right?
Yeah,
very technical.
It's a pure 6 brawl, and it's just going all over the place. So Sam and Robbie are basically at a deficit, right? Dimitri's not doing anything. So really, this 5-on-3 is 5-on-2. Mm-hmm. But what Sam, this is what's really cool, especially about Miyagi-Do karate. So Sam and Robbie find themselves doing their dance routine that they learned on the water gimmick balance table, and they are able to fend off all 5 of these Cobra Kai thugs.
They knew where one was going, where the other wasn't going. I mean, I got to figure Sam probably had some stretchy pants on for, flexibility and to accommodate certain areas that may be bulging where they shouldn't normally. But
and now here we go, Ocho. Here we go again. You keep slipping right into these jabs for Sam. I don't know what she's done to you, but does this have something to do with that damn headband that you're wearing? Is that the allegiance that they're showing?
Allegiance.
Listen.
I'm a fan of the show. We're just calling it like we sees it, man.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Ocho. Let me ask you this. When they were fighting 5-on-2, okay, and they were doing their water dancing routine, did it look like she had any issues with her weight?
Well, because of the stretchy pants, but again, she held her own. I guess
She was
I could
moving like
say.
a ninja out there. Give her some credit, Ocho.
She was light on her cankles. That's a good point. Good point. I understand.
All right. So as
don't
we move
insult
forward,
my journalistic integrity like Dimitri. I mean, I am not going to be insulted with my journalistic integrity. All right, I was a little out of line there. I love the show. That's all I can say. I'm getting emotional.
Let me just clarify something. So you calling out her weight gain is your journalistic integrity?
If it's factual.
Fair enough. So now we see Johnny drive up to his apartment complex, and he's drunk. And he starts to stumble out of the car, and he sees Miguel's mom.
She got his washing machine, is what she had, the laundry basket that he called the washing machine.
So now we see Moon, and Moon is upset at Hawk for jumping Dimitri, and she just doesn't understand who he has turned into anymore. And she's just not going to date a bully. And that's exactly what Hawk seems to be turning into here. Hawk heads right into the dojo to start pounding the heavy bag because
he's got to work it out. He's got to work it out.
Moon got in that car, she's gone,
mm-hmm.
And he goes right in there. So you're right. He's got a lot of anger. He's got a lot of frustration, and what better way to work it out than on the heavy bag? Kreese is watching him, and Kreese asks him, "Did you get in the fight?" And he tells him that they lost to Cobra Kai. And
to Miyagi.
I'm sorry. Correct. To Miyagi. And,
so who's got the biased opinion here? Or, I mean.
So then Kreese comes over and gives him some sound advice, and he basically tells him the fight's only over when you say it is.
Powerful advice.
Very powerful. So now we see Johnny back with Miguel's mom, and he's basically telling her how Daniel abused him in high school, and just
Facts.
What he ruined Johnny's life is the story that Johnny's telling her, and she thinks he sounds like a real jerk, and next thing we see, Miguel and Tori are out on a date, and they're playing on the little circle gimmick that spins around.
The spinny dizzy thing, yeah.
And they're jumping off it into the sand, and they're having a blast, and they end up kissing.
Yeah, yep.
Who would have thought that would have transpired? I definitely didn't see it.
Most people don't get dizzy and then start macking out, but hey, when you got Miguel's a handsome dude, and Tori with a Y has been really on his jock the whole time. So, and she's helping him have fun. Remember, she said you got to have fun. Forget about that chubster that you were with. You got to have some fun.
Chubster, Ocho? Chubster? She's looking pretty dang good for doing that Miyagi-Do karate. But
I was just talking. I'm just trying to help Diaz in this instance. That was all. It slipped.
Yeah, very biased. So now we see Hawk, and he brings a couple of these Cobra Kai thugs, and they destroy the Miyagi-Do dojo. They tear it limb to limb. Knocking rocks over, they're uprooting plants, they're tearing down signs. It's very disturbing, Ocho. What do you have to say about your Cobra Kai?
Well, that's upsetting, but it's no worse than any Mischief Night havoc that we did as kids. Remember the night before Halloween, Mischief Night? You get the TP, you throw it around, you soap a couple houses, throw some eggs. But they went a little overboard. I'm not on board with Hawk because I think he's got too much rage. I'm more of a, yeah, okay. I have nothing to say. I can't defend it. I can't condone that type of behavior.
Daniel comes in and, and first off, that's not the way the Grappler 6 was raised. So, no, I can't, I have a real hard time understanding the mindset there. But once Daniel realizes this, he's just distraught. And he decides to confront Johnny at Cobra Kai about this.
You missed a big section, I have to tell you.
What did I miss, Ocho?
Really important. Well, don't you remember when Robbie and Sam had their moment at the fireplace? Because Sam was eating s'mores, right? What happened was Sam was snacking again. And so she made s'mores. And instead, she needed more calories, so she put a Reese's peanut butter cup on it. whether that's the protein kick or what. So she took something that was only going to give her diabetes, and then she modified it to give herself a heart attack. And so she said, here, you got to try this. I'm a pro. I'm a genius at making these. And then her and Robbie had the awkward moment where they almost kissed, but he probably said, well, look, if I hook up with this girl, she's probably going to bake me bacon every day, and I'm going to have a heart attack soon. Don't you remember that part?
Oh, Joe, I would suggest you pump the brakes a little bit on Sam, okay? And try staying in your own lane, pal.
Well, I'm defending Robbie.
She's going to feed him bacon every morning?
She's trying to feed him a s'mores with peanut butter cups on it. I mean, my God, look, don't you know the rate of diabetes, type 2 diabetes in the country nowadays? I mean, that's not Miyagi-Do training.
Guys, that's all we have for episode 5 tonight. And be sure and like the video. And leave some comments below and let us know what you think. Are you thinking Ocho's kind of in line with what he's been saying about this supposed weight gain? Let us know. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time for episode 6.
Damn it! Subscribe to the Brothers Grappler YouTube channel! Like the video, damn it! Leave a comment!